Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. We have a great video in store for you guys and gals today. I think you're going to enjoy it and find it interesting. It's going to be a little bit of a different format, and that's because the second article isn't talking about silver in a bullish light or in a positive light, but it's still the market, right? I'm not going to only show you the rainbows and unicorns and not show you the dark storm clouds. I'm going to show you everything because that's what my channel is about. It's forecasting. It's showing the world of precious metals, what's exactly happening, whether it's good or bad, and also where I think the price is headed. I'm not going to only sway your opinion to think silver is bullish if I don't think it is, right? I'm going to show my honest opinion. And not saying I don't think silver is bullish. You'll see later on in the video what I'm talking about. But I just want to be upfront and honest with you guys. And I think that's why we are so close. I feel like that's why we have such a good community. And yeah, so anyways, before we jump into this video, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe if you're new. I post daily videos every single day, giving you the newest, latest, freshest information in the world of precious metals. Let's jump into it. So you can probably see from the title that we're going to get a little crazy today. And every time we talk about crazy silver prices, I got to make a disclaimer. I'm not saying that silver is going to reach $175 tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year, not in the next 5 years. You'll see in this article what they're talking about and what it could be as a literal value, not so much as a realistic value today. So let's just jump into the article. So silver will soar on its next rally. This article was written today, or yesterday actually, fresh off the press. And I'm glad that it's new because then they're incorporating everything that's going on. If you find an article that's a couple weeks old, they're missing some key things that are happening, especially around this debate. So are you fearful, or are you getting greedy? There's two sides to a stacker. You're about to figure out which one you are. That's the question silver investors should be asking themselves now. Are you fearful, or are you getting greedy? Novices have been panicking while seasoned investors are salivating at the opportunities. You see, glass half full, glass half empty. Novices, the beginner stackers, are probably freaking out, wondering why silver prices are so low. The more experienced stackers, I always say this is just an opportunity to buy your silver for cheap. It's like silver on a discount. It's a silver sale, a huge silver sale. So take advantage of it and buy as much as you can while the prices are low, because we know for a fact the prices are going to go back up. So silver has recently corrected by almost $8 or 36% since peaking in early August. The drop to $22 brought it to less than half its all-time high. And remember that level, right? Remember that $22 level, which is half of its all-time high. All-time high is like $50 and something, a little bit of change. And that was in 1980, and then in 2011 it was $49.80 something cents. So, yet silver would still need to reach $175 to equal its inflation-adjusted 1980 peak of $49. So if we are adjusting this price to inflation rates, silver would be $175 to equal what it was in 1980. And times are changing, the markets are changing, people's perspectives are changing, the dollar purchasing power is changing, everything's changing. And when we're looking at silver's price from one point in time, that's not what the real value is. That's just what this price of silver is in that exact period. But since the time is changing, you can't always look at it from that period, because when we fast forward, a lot of new things have happened to affect the price. And what I mean by that is I'm basically saying silver's true value is unknown. Because even if we look at the price right now, sitting at around $24, yes, $24 right now, but knowing that there's a presidential election right around the corner, we know that that's going to be very short-lived. And with so many things happening, especially next year, and that we're really going to dive into, that might not be so bullish for silver, doesn't always mean that the price is where we think it is, or where we hope it will go, or even where it should be, right? Sometimes the markets aren't fair. I just made a video yesterday on silver spoofing. price manipulation, prices that are rigged. Sometimes it's not fair, but we have to learn to adapt and adjust accordingly as investors, or else we're going to be the ones sitting in the corner, kicking ourselves in the butt, regretting, or the ones that are just so overcome with fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's called FUD, that you just make silly, irrational mistakes. So, anyways, I don't think silver's correction is quite over yet, but it's getting closer to a trigger point, and that's definitely true, especially knowing what's around the corner. Trigger point is definitely close. I think things are going to change very quickly for the better. They might go a little. I mean, it really doesn't matter. That's the thing. Unless you're marginal trading, unless you're trading from the exchanges and buying and selling, these dips and tops, it really doesn't matter, right? I mean, what's a couple pennies higher or a couple pennies lower if you're buying or selling? I mean, it really doesn't matter. The longer term indicator points to higher silver, and that's the main point. In the long term, we know it's pointing towards higher prices. So the day-to-day right now shouldn't be worrying you so much. You shouldn't be checking the price of silver every day and be getting emotionally flustered whether the price is up or down. That will drive you crazy, by the way. I did that with Bitcoin, and it drove me crazy. Constantly checking my phone to see what the markets were doing, the exchanges, the volume, and it drives someone crazy. And then when you get wrapped up in that, you get distracted, right? You almost get like a blindfold on. You can't really think rational because you're investing with everything that you shouldn't be. So the gold to silver ratio is a great longer term indicator of silver's value relative to gold, and to search for signs of what might lie ahead for the metal. I think the gold to silver ratio is a great tool to use to see whether gold is the better investment or whether silver is the better investment at that point in time. So, looking back several decades, each time the ratio reaches 80, it tends to reverse. From there, silver typically outperforms gold as the ratio falls. And this is the craziest part. 80, 80 is the level that's extremely high, which pushes it to reverse. It corrects. But in this past March, the ratio was 126 to 1. The ratio underwent and by the way, that was the highest the ratio has ever been in the 5,000 years that gold and silver have been used as a monetary exchangeable currency or value ever. So we witnessed history in March. That's it, what that also means is that was the cheapest silver has ever been relative to gold throughout history. Out of the thousands and thousands and thousands of years, that was the cheapest silver has ever been compared to gold. So that means a lot, but that's a whole different video. That's a whole different topic. I've talked about it. But anyways, the ratio underwent a rapid mean reversion since then, dropping quickly to 70 before bouncing recently back to above 80. I think there's a lot more in store, and that once this correction phase is over, the ratio will continue to fall further. I think there's many different reasons that the ratio is going to continue to fall, whether it is from the markets being so correlated in price, or the exact opposite. The market's starting to shift and be affected by different things. I mean, heck, they are different. Silver's an industrial metal, gold's a monetary metal, so they shouldn't be affected by the same things to an exact T like it almost is today. But time will tell what happens. So if it drops back to 50, gold to silver ratio 50 to 1. With gold at $1,950, that would imply silver at $39. If it falls even lower, say 40, that implies $49 silver. But gold is not likely to stop at $1,950. If it reaches $2,200, a gold to silver ratio of 40 would mean $55 silver. And that's the thing, anytime someone tries to do this math, they forget that when silver's rising, gold also is too. Near-term indicators suggest more consolidation. So now it kind of goes into why things might consolidate a little more. Right before the 2011 peak, silver was down to like $9, and then it just boosts up. We saw from $11 in March all the way up to $30. So it's definitely, and if you want to get into to the analytics, he shows the triangle formations, all this stuff, the patterns. And it's really good detail when you can incorporate, when you can learn these charts and apply that with what's happening in the economy. You can get a pretty good um, educated guess on where the price is headed. So this is what I was talking about in the beginning of the video. Solar-driven silver demand set to dim as sector innovates. So what they're saying is, and yes, you're comprehending that correctly. They're finding new ways to make solar panels not need as much silver. And this is something. This was one of my worries. I remember as a new stacker thinking, well, silver is used for so many things, but what if there's something that they make or find that can replace silver, right? Silver is used for laptops, cell phones, dental alloys, medical wall paint, you name it, photography, colloidal silver, silver nanoparticles, photovoltaic cells, so many things. But what if they find something that's cheaper and that works to the same degree? Now, silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity, so it's highly unlikely, but there's an instance here that's happening. And this means that the demand side for solar panels, which is taking off in the next 3-4 years, isn't going to have as much silver demand as we thought. Now, that doesn't mean silver is going to crash. Silver still has many, many other avenues that are going to be pushing demand extremely high, from 5G technology, electric vehicles, etc. But I still wanted to share this with you guys because it was written today, and this is definitely stuff we need to know. The good and the bad and the ugly. We need to know it all. So, silver demand from solar sector looks set to wane as manufacturers continue to find ways to use less of the highly conductive but relatively expensive metal in their solar cells. Out to 2024, we see volume drifting lower. And this is interesting because earlier this year they predicted higher. Likewise, consultancy CRU Group said it expects silver demand from the solar sector to start falling in 2020 after years of relatively uninterrupted growth. We forecast a slow decline in silver demand from 2020 to 2023, and that's as photovoltaic or PV capacity added per year dips, while attempts at silver thrifting in PV panels continue to diminish at a diminished rate. And silver thrifting, by the way, is recycling it and reusing it. So booming solar panel installations on rooftops and at utility scale power projects over the past couple of decades have been a bright spot for silver. The precious metal is highly conductive and amenable cost-effective screen printing process, making it a key component of solar panels. So silver is typically laid down on the solar cell in what are called fingers, helping to deliver harvested energy. Amid growing installations of solar panels, silver has benefited massively. In the early 2000s, silver demand from the solar sector barely registered, making up less than 1% of silver demand. And then in 2019, it accounted for 10% of silver demand, comprising 98 million ounces within a total demand of 991.8 million ounces, according to Metals Focus data. So it's not going to just it's not going to put silver in a casket in a grave, but it's definitely going to affect the price to a degree. What degree? We don't know. Like I always say, well, I've been saying this lately, the markets are ever changing. What affected silver's price last year is going to be different than what affects silver's price next year. We have new apps coming out, making it easier, more accessible to invest into silver. Younger generations, as the price rises, it attracts, it gains attention to new investors. It's interesting, and I think as we go on, these types of things, and to be honest, these are the types of things that should affect silver's price. I would rather silver's price get hurt or drop lower from something that's actually happening. And what I mean by that is silver demand dropping because it's not needed as much in solar panels is literal. It's happening. That's a real thing in the real world affecting the real price. The thing I hate, which I see is happening more, is speculation, where someone says something, a rumor, lie, myth, or people just quote-unquote think the market should be a different way, and that affecting the price of silver. That's what I don't like. That could be silver's true downfall. or uprise, and I don't want it to rise from that. I want silver, and the reason I invest in this silver is because of its intrinsic value, because it has a real world use, and because it has stability, right? There's stability, there's preservation, there's longevity in that, from supply and demand, production costs, what it's being used for, right? All these things. But when it comes to speculation, leave that for Bitcoin, right? So anyways, the use of silver in photovoltaics is not likely to stop, but analysts expect industry innovation to continue to lower silver content per cell, outstripping demand for new solar installations. I want to stop right here. What do you think, how do you think this is going to start happening more? I mean, we grow technologically extremely fast. And since silver is used, it's so intertwined in technology, do you think there's going to be a day, there will come a day where we really don't need silver? Because if you think about it, gold is 80 times more expensive than silver. So to most people, silver is, no pun intended, but a gold mine. It's this extremely usable, valuable metal, but it's extremely cheap. So they can cut their production costs down, and that's good for us as well. If you want the newest, latest iPhone, you better hope that they do that, because if not, it'd be extremely expensive. But the thing is, if they can replace it with something even cheaper, that's when things get dangerous. So innovation in screen printing process, in which silver-containing pastes are applied to solar cells and strips, is one of the key areas where manufacturers have squeezed out silver, and that has yet to reach a limit. So, anyways, I wanted to share that with you guys because I thought it was definitely interesting and stuff we need to talk about. I'm going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm not going to hide certain articles because I don't want you to know this about silver. I'm not going to portray silver on this channel in a certain light just to keep you bullish minded. No. If I see some stuff, or if I know things are bothering me or that could affect the price negatively, I'm still going to share it. I'm sharing silver. I'm sharing the world of gold and silver fully, right? I'm telling everything about it. I'm not just going to sway a biased opinion or try to sway your opinion. That's wrong. I know there's a lot of channels that do that, not trying to, and that's everywhere. That's with news media, that's with everything, right? But I really want my channel to be genuine and to really give you the real insight, a real perspective, what's really happening, because that's really going to affect how you stack and how you strategize. So anyways, I think this video's long enough. I thought this was a great video today. Many different topics, a little bit of recap, talking about $175 silver if it equals inflation levels adjusted at the 1980 peak of $49. What do you think about that? Not saying it's going to happen in 5 years, 10 years. It could be 15, 20 years down the line. Who knows what will be happening at that time to affect the price? It could be a whole new world, literally a whole new monetary system. Everything could be changed by then. I mean, look how much happens in 9 years. Silver was $50 9 years ago. Look how much has happened since then. So there's a lot of stuff that could happen in a decade, right? You got to remember that. So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. The links to these two articles will be in the description. If you enjoyed this video, if you thought it was educational, informational, or at least entertaining, make sure to smash the like button. Subscribe if you're new. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.